Hey everyone, this is Doug Kenny, and we welcome Jake Dallenbach to Stories from Motorsports. Hey Jake, how you doing?
Good, how are you?
Doing good. Tell all our followers a little bit of what you're known for.
I think most people know about the family. It kind of started with my grandparents racing. My dad's dad ran IndyCar and USAC for years, and then transitioned over to being the chief steward of kart and IndyCar for 25 years, and then my dad, Wally Jr., ran NASCAR for years. My mom raced. She was actually the youngest female to qualify for a cup race in, I believe it was 85, with JD Stacy in Michigan. So yeah, and then my brother, my sister, and I all raced respectively late models, dirt late models, dirt midgets, all sorts of stuff. So we've been involved in racing quite a bit. My uncle, he's also raced. He won Pikes Peak quite a bit, and does the stunt driving and works a lot in movies. He was just he was in the Ford versus Ferrari with his team. So and then it all kind of snowballed down to me. So I'm kind of taking the reins over on that and doing some stunt driving with him and that sort of stuff. So
that's pretty cool. Isn't your uncle, one of your uncles or cousins, isn't he the chief steward for Trans Am, Mike Dallenbach?
So yeah, Mike is he's one of the officials with Trans Am, and I believe I don't know how it kind of happened. My dad got hired to be the chief steward of Trans Am a few years ago, and then I was working with the BMW Performance Center, and we got a cool gig to BMW being the pace car for Trans Am. And then my cousin Mike was down there, and he got a job being an official. So we all kind of, my dad started in Trans Am, and then Trans Am kind of pulled us all back into it. So that was pretty fun.
That's really cool. I met Mike last year in Nashville during the IndyCar weekend.
Oh yeah.
And I had a pretty good conversation with him about the Trans Am series. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah, it's a cool series, and I'm really glad that it's becoming more of a big series. I know when it first started, when the first kind of resurgence came, it was kind of like, this isn't going to work. But I think you've seen a lot of really good drivers come out of Trans Am. Gar Robinson is one of them. I mean, he just won his class in Daytona. We've known Gar since he was racing quarter midgets with us, so it was really good to see. So there's a lot of Trans Am is one of those series now that if you can win in Trans Am, you're ready for the next step. So that's really cool to see the Trans Am series come back.
Definitely. And you have big legends that are really good, like Tony Ave, Tommy Dreese. They're really good drivers.
Yeah, all those guys, and it's really funny. All the team owners now, they race with my dad, so it's Trans Am's really cool because it's more it's less of that it's competitive, but everyone it's very family oriented. Everybody it's a cool series. I mean, everybody knows everyone's been around for a long time, and guys that have raced. And now my dad is going to run. He's doing some HSR stuff in SVRA, and they're going to run the historic Trans Ams with the TA1 cars, which is pretty cool. So,
did you see the race at Watkins Glen where he finished runner-up to Mark Martin in the Bill Davis car?
My dad, yeah, he was in the Keystone car, I believe, with. I can't remember what year that was.
I think it was 95.
95, yeah.
What was your reaction to that and the family's reaction?
I was little. I think it was because I was only, 5 or 6 years old, but it sucks to lose. It sucks to be second. It was a good run for my dad, but I think that Yeah, just being that close, it always sucks, man. You know, always just being that close to getting that trophy is it's a double-edged sword. You run well, but then you know, you're just so close. So, but it was a good race.
Definitely. What funny stories did your grandfather, Wally Sr., give about his IndyCar days?
There wasn't like really funny stories, but it was just one of the things that really sticks out for me. You know, he started a charity called the Colorado 500 up here, and it's a motorcycle ride throughout the Rocky Mountains, and we give a lot of money to like the local. We do a scholarship for the Basalt High School, and we give money to each of the towns we stop in. And I think one of the coolest things about the IndyCar family when my grandfather was there is that a lot of those drivers would come on the ride. And, you know, hearing him talk about, you know, the Unsers and Rick Mears and Penske coming on the ride and having a good time and kind of letting loose and giving to charity and helping all these little mountain towns. I think that kind of camaraderie and that those special stories where, you know, they're out motorcycling in the middle of the Rocky Mountains and eating, you know, canned beans over a campfire. Like, those stories really stuck out for me, and it's really cool to hear that from my grandfather's perspective, because a lot of people, I think, you know, they look at all these IndyCar drivers and these, you know, all these guys and the Unsers and the Andrettis, and they're like, they put them on a pedestal. But it's funny to hear my grandfather, you know, sitting in his log cabin talking about, oh yeah, we were up that draw up there, and we were hunting and just being regular old rednecks. And that's kind of, those stories are really cool to hear, because it really just, it's like, oh man, these guys just like to do the same stuff that I like to do. So
that's pretty cool. I happened to have a coincidental meeting with Penske in Nashville last year. He was on his golf cart at the time.
Yeah, I think he's done so well, and it's good to see. It's always good to see him winning, because he's a family friend. So we always, as a family, try to pull for Penske.
Definitely. So, what made you go into stunt driving?
It was actually by accident. I was running, yeah. So my mom does it as well. And my mom was in some movies, and she was in Bad Boys 2 as a stunt driver. And like I said, my uncle was in it. And I was running the Volkswagen TDI Cup way back in, like, the first year it was, like, I think it was 2008. And I think what happened was they used one of my wrecks on a promo or something, and my mom saw it on TV, and my mom is SAG. So and I was only 17 at the time. So she applied for my SAG card for that. So I got my SAG card. And then she got a job with someone in San Antonio, and they needed a couple more drivers. So they hired me. It was a Toyota job. And then it just kind of snowballed from there, just, you know, meeting people and going, you know, stunt coordinators and stuff, and getting more jobs and more jobs. And I worked with a stunt coordinator in Dallas, and we were building, you know, cars to get wrecked, and, you know, we were doing a lot of fabricating. So like I said, it just kind of snowballed, which is really funny, because you hear a lot of people that are like, I'm going to be a stunt driver and I'm going to put everything into it. And then I'm kind of like, I just kind of fell into it. It's like, so, but it's been a very fun ride. I'm very fortunate to have gotten a lot of really cool jobs.
Great to hear. What does SAD stand for?
It's the Screen Actors Guild.
Oh,
so,
okay.
Yeah, basically any actor or anyone on camera. It's kind of the union for actors.
Okay, got it. That's pretty cool. What are some of the best stunts you've done in a car?
Man, nothing really crazy, to be honest with you. I mean, a lot of the so-called stunt driving is, you're sliding around and driving fast on a dirt road. For car commercials is what I mostly do. It's a lot of just working with the camera car. And I also drive a camera car, a company called Blackwing here in Denver. And I'm one of their camera car drivers with my fellow driving instructor from BMW, Leah Croto. So it's a lot of not stunts, just because the camera car is like a Porsche with a big arm on it, right?
Yeah.
So it goes 360. So it's working with the camera, working with the landscape. You have the camera go out on a cliff, and you have to be close to the cliff. So it's not. Besides sliding around and having fun, like those are the cool jobs. But a lot of the jobs are, just getting that right shot for the director, so it looks good on camera. So nothing too crazy besides, sliding around and, doing donuts.